Shalom, shalom. Here we go. Oh man. Let's see. I like these ones better than the other streams because I can see the chat better. Or the only one I can't really see the chat is the Metroid one. But I really should be paying attention to the game on that one because I don't want to spend too long playing video games. Like I get it done, notice everything in it. So I have a little chart of the Jeddah Tower. It looks like a three-dimensional attack on the higher dimensions. It looks like a giant fang. Looks like a hypodermic needle, which they got the idea for that from a snake's fang. That's real. That's not misinformation. Where's Mr. Information, by the way? It's called the Kingdom Tower, but it's also called the Jeddah Tower. Jeddah means, oh, I already said what it means. But since it's called a Kingdom Tower, then if you pronounced it Jah instead of Je, it makes it specifically God instead of just He. Usually He even still implies God, or that God worked through the He that this is named after. Kingdom Tower, though, so that's what's emphasized here. This is part 3 of what I call Apocalypse Vaulta. It's mixing Vault and Volta, and I made it feminine because it's supposed to be the church, the firmament, the vault of heaven. Shemaim? Is that what it is? No, it's, yeah, Shemaim, because it sounds like Shemiramoth. She wanted to be the queen of heaven, but she ratchet. So previously known as Kingdom Tower or Mile High Tower, then they just made it his door to the testimony. Okay, yeah. No, his door to the eye or fountain, or the fountain or the eye to the door of him or God. Depends on how you look at it. If you're on the top or on the bottom, or on the sides, or within or without. It's a skyscraper on hold on the north side. This is 2020. I think I got a lot of this information, so I think it's completed already. North side of Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. It's planned to be the world's first 3,200 foot or 1 kilometer high building, and the centerpiece at first phase of a development and tourist attraction known as Jeddah Economic City. See, the initial plans called for a mile-high structure, but the geology of the area proved unsuitable. Interesting, almost like something's been built there before, and if they would have continued to build it, it would have harmed a bunch of innocent people. So somebody, who I think is worshipful, confused all their languages so that they didn't build a tower that would eventually fall on a bunch of innocent people and probably babies and stuff. So I think it's very worshipful that God did that, even though it was confusion. Isn't that interesting? God can do something that some people might think is bad, but it produces. And then they're jealous that God can produce amidst bad and good. It's like, why don't you just improve yourself and try to be like him? Initial plans call for a mile. Okay. The current design, created by American architect Adrian Smith, who also designed Burj Khalifa. I think that building's finished, but I don't know if this one is. I think this one is finished. I don't know. Incorporates many unique structural and aesthetic features. creator and leader of the project is Saudi Arabian Prince Al Walid bin Talal, a grandson of Ibn Saud, and nephew of King of Saudi Arabia before him. So Al Walid. Peg for the scholar passes by, son, the mark of the scholar of L. It's a nice name. See how they had the knowledge of this stuff? This House of Saud. And they get to name their children something that's actually pretty cool. And he gets to build this tower now. What if people name their something in Hebrew means a dump truck? And this poor dude drives a dump truck all his life. You know what I mean? So, grandson of Ibn Saud. Al-Walid is the chairman of Kingdom Holding Company. Kingdom Holding Company, as if you can hold it back, which is a partner in the Jeddah Economic Company, or JEC. Wow. Its acronym is JEC. Jockton. Dr. Jekyll. Mr. Hyde. Jack of all trades, master of none. Jackie boy. Jack and Jill went up the hill. They went tumbling because Jack was a midget. He will be small, so of course he wants to build some giant building so everybody else feels just as small as he feels. Isn't that something? Formed in 2009 for the development of the tower. It is scaled down from 1 mile high to 30-something hundred. Alright. So it's like a doorway, I think, to Mecca, though. I think that's why it might mean what it means. Adrian Smith of Adrian Smith and Gordon Gill Architecture. Same architect who did he was working for Skidmore, Owings, and Merrill. SOM. The other reason I'm naming this is because of Shemiramoth. I just got this right now that I have to go through this now. I was already going to, but I'm going to go through all this stuff I have in here because I'm going to name every one of these people. And I'm going to Hebraize their name. Shemiramoth, highest exalted name, and the death watches, basically the ones who watch and keep an eye and notice who is dying, who they are. I'm invested in it. This is the testimony of the dead. All this history stuff in scripture. So I really like that name, and I think that's why I gotta do this. I have to name these people because even though it's gonna happen anyway, it's a priestly duty to actually name these people. I'm even going through all the names in scripture to know what they all mean because it describes it. So wild. It's too much. All right. This one is focal point of the development of Jeddah Tower's primary use will be to house a Four Seasons hotel. Four Seasons. It's a giant obelisk, a very sharpened a very sharpened. Who sharpened it? Belt on Road Initiative people? I don't know. Rosh Shin Ta. Four Seasons Hotel. It's right in front of you. Skidmore. Owings and Merrill. SOM. Where he worked almost 40 years. Some of these I won't Hebratize because I don't have time, but you guys have the whole alphabet, so. Was formed in 2006 by Adrian Smith, Gordon Gill, could be Gar, Drag Away the Door, and then International Trade of God is Gill, but it could be misplaced and not actually be L, but something related to the negative aspects that God could unleash on wicked people. Because Gil in The Simpsons is a salesman that can't catch a break. So it's very interesting if it's Gimel and L, which is international trade or a camel of God, car salesman, usually, or a house salesman is what Gil is, his character. And if you look at who created, it's Joktidites, so they know Semitic speech. That's why they claim to be certain people that they're not. They claim to be Muslim, they claim to be Christian, they claim to be Israeli, they claim to be all kinds of people. They claim to be Ashkenaz, they claim to be Sefer, they claim to be Scythians, they claim to be everything. They're everywhere. They are small and they're everywhere. Joktan. He will be small. He's a Yoda. The development of the tower is being managed by Imear Properties. So, in the eyes, waters of the eyes of strength. Wow. Thornton Tomasetti has been selected as a structural engineering firm. Environmental systems design. Isn't it weird how it's almost like I'm a language expert on some of these? How is it that I have no degree in any of this, and the way I'm translating these names by Hebratizing them with just the alphabet usually, or sometimes verbs, roots, it means the intent that these people are having. How can the intent be predicted by the word? Because the spirit of prophecy is a testimony of Messiah, which is the word. That's why whenever I talk about these things manifest either in the day that I speak of them or the next day. I'll speak of certain words, certain roots, and then in the day, if I go out somewhere, it'll manifest more than the other things, because everything's always manifesting. The whole Hebrew language is always being manifested because it's not their language. They got it from someone else. That's why they always like to play with this theory that, oh, they mixed with aliens. That's what the whole Spock and Vulcan thing is that this alien race mixed with humans. It's Kabbalah, basically. Not rocket science. Actually, it is. Kabbalah is rocket science, but what do I know? I'm just an average person, do you understand? What do I know? I could know anything. Anybody of any skin, of any stature, as long as they came from Adam, can do this. I have the... Oh, I wanted to mention, it's interesting that I put the alphabet in something that used to be a CD holder. And DBD is David Infirmity. His autoimmune disorder which was just his reaction to the higher dimensions. The physical reaction to the higher dimensions was his, for lack of a better term, immune disorder. Where I've experienced certain things too, where if you feel like you're in danger, other people, by me asking them or just seeing them when they're in those situations, don't get filled with as much energy as I do, or other people in my family that have it. I think I know where it came from because there's different people in my family that it happens to. But if your body is built enough, all that energy will just enter all the muscle and be able to deliver more. So that's why exercise is really good for a lot of what they call autoimmune disorders. Why? Because for some reason your body, the most high is allowing more energy to flow through it than you have flesh for. So you have to build flesh to feel more comfortable. A lot of people will do this in a negative way and eat a bunch of unhealthy food and not work out and expand in a non biblical way. And I'll word it that way. There are other people who will work their muscles so that their bones and their muscles contain the energy rather than it being contained in water and fat cells. That's the thing too, is that they can't ban these words because how do you tell somebody about fat cell? Is there a new word for it? If you're scientifically talking about it's madness. It's just to hide science. That's all it is. Masks are to hide science because you're part of science. You have something to say. You're a part of experimentation in the scientific method. The scientific method in its pure form is Messiah because it's trying to reach one unified perception of all things, but it's through a body of people. So you have science then, and just like the biblical Messiah, you have anti-science, anti-Messiah. Paul himself saying, this is why they hate him so much, because Paul said, beware of what is falsely called science. King James Version says that. Other versions too. It's some say knowledge, but it's like no. Beware of what is falsely called science, because science comes from shizo, which is to divide. The reason why it should be translated science is because he's saying beware of it. You're not going to be aware of something that can't be divided. You're going to be aware of something that's named after the word divide. Peleg. What comes out of division? Peleg, Abraham, Joktan, Mini-Me from Austin Powers, and all these magicians who fool people. And a lot of them try to claim that they are gypsies or that they are Hebrews. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're Joktanites. You're Joker. How am I doing this? Like, it's because it's true and anybody can access it. That's how I'm doing it. Where do you think Joker comes from? Where do you think Batman and Joker come from? Atman is in the Buddhist thing is supposed to be Messiah. They interpret it though in a wrong perception by saying it's yourself. The inner man isn't yourself. The inner man is what is placed in you by the Most High. It's Messiah placed in you, the Word. So the Atman is supposed to be something that's supposed to unify with God, but they think they are God. Like what I said, when it says, "Are we alone in the universe?" It means to them, are we God perceiving reality and creating reality by our perception, or is there a God who created us? That's what they mean by that. That's their question. And they want to talk to interdimensional beings in order to figure that out. And top officials who have authority to say these things say them. I just read the articles. You can look them up. I read the names of the people who read them, and I think it was NBC or MSNBC. I think it was NBC article. You can look it up. I don't make it up. It's there. If they make it up, but I'm not. It's in their names. It's in the etymology. That's the word proves everything. Everything's gonna be tested through the word. Messiah is the word. Do you understand how it's trying to tell the Most High Elohim is trying to tell you a mentality to understand everything so that you're not afraid and that you know how to represent yourself and represent the Most High. You're supposed to represent the Most High through Messiah. Messiah is the word. If you don't know how to speak, how are you going to do that? You gotta write. If you don't know how to write, how are you going to do that? Then what language are you writing in? This one seems to be the one connected to everything. Hebrew. What they call Hebrew. But I believe it's Adam's language. Especially the way I'm using it. It's a tool so that if somebody tries to corrupt it, it can naturally uncorrupt anything that tries to corrupt it. That's why it's the living word. It can literally expel parasites and bacteria, figurative parasites and bacteria. Pharmakia. Okay, I want to look at the money involved in this. Kingdom Holding Company. Oh, look at this. On the 2nd of August 2011, it was publicly announced by Kingdom Holding, the investment company, that a contract had been signed by Saudi Bin Laden Group, that construction was going to start soon, and that the tower is expected to take 63 months to complete. That's 9. Their favorite number. But, I don't want to look it up. I'll look it up some other time. Let's go look up numbers. I like numbers. I like words. Numbers are interesting, though. Numbers are like the female, though. They complement the word. Just like the moon complements the sun. Do you understand? The sun is the word. The moon is mathematical composition of Messiah. That's what Torah is. The mathematical composition of Messiah, but it isn't him. It's the mathematical composition of him. Why is it in words? Because that's the only way you could actually mathematically. You see how I'm trying to use human words mathematically to make it make sense to you, but that isn't the word you would normally use. And I hope me using that word makes it sense in you or on you, whatever it is. In you or on you. I don't know what happens when I speak and people understand. I don't know how the consciousness works, but I love thinking about it because it's amazing. I used to do it when I was a child all the time. I would sit on the couch sometimes for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, just staring off, realizing that I'm conscious. I can see things and I'm understanding what they are at the same time I'm seeing them, and that there's other people that exist. And everything has a reaction and a consequence, and there's somebody who created everything and all of that out of love, just so you can experience and grow into something. And I'm like 8 years old, for 8 to 11, 10 or 11. I would do that a lot because I would have some time sometimes, and I'd sit outside and think of that, or I'd sit inside. But a lot of times I'd be outside looking at a tree or something. And it's like the best people I've met are usually people who have done that. It doesn't make them the best people, but it means that they started a journey when they were smaller and when they grew. Because we expand too. That's how we grow. Remember I said on a past episode, that's my theory of time. It's not linear or on a point. It's a sphere that keeps getting bigger. That's why your heart does that and beats. That's probably how atomic clocks work and why they're so accurate, because there is a pulse of creation, and creation is constantly expanding, but very, very smallly on the three-dimensional level. On the higher dimensions, it's perceptually different. So it seems like it's expanding at a higher rate. So our spiritual body can feel like it's expanding at a higher rate. That's how we gain intelligence as we grow. That's very interesting. It's the first time I've said that, so I'm tripping myself out. B6 group, Belgian 6 construct. Wow, I just watched Austin Powers, where Dr. Evil says he's Belgian like a million times in all three movies. And it's the Belgians in the House of Sod. The Belgians are the ones that went into Rwanda and got two opposing tribes and had them notice further their differences and gave them a scientific backing for their genocide. Do you understand why it's shizo to divide? Can't make this up. B6, that means the house of six, the house of the sharpening of the sounds or the weapons of the arm. Its construction, the Burj Khalifa was previously considered for the contract and did not win. Oh, they didn't win, partially because SBG invested in GEC, contributing SR 1.5 billion or US 400 million towards the development of the project. And it's interesting they mentioned the company, though, that they wanted to bid on it. Oh, but the Bin Laden Group got the contract. I forgot that the Bin Laden Group is a like the Bin Laden family. It's Saudi Arabia, and I always forget for some reason. Stakeholders: Kingdom Holding Company, 33%. Abrar Holding Company, 33.35%. Can't make this up. Which is owned by which is owned by Samuel Bakhash, a businessman, Abdul Rahman Hassan Sharbatli, 16.67%. So there's two, Abar Holding Company and the Kingdom Holding Company both have 33.35%. Oh man, that's too much. It's too much. Bin Laden Group has 16.63%. When it says 666 in Revelation, some manuscripts allegedly say 616. So it's interesting how that a lot of times pops up when it's not a 666. So I don't know what that means, but it's definitely 666. It's the opposite of Solomon. Solomon got 666 talents of gold every year from his literal scientists. Can't make this up. But it was gold. So that's what it's reflecting. The 666 is going to be a materialistic thing, and it's going to involve science, and it's going to involve gold and alchemy. Oh, isn't that interesting? It's words. These words existed before the Bible too. So, or before Scripture. That is. If you remember how I Hebrew-tized Holy Bible, it's like it shows you how they view it. if you just call it scripture, that's how scripture views it. Because it's literally like the mouth of the Holy Spirit with everything else. Let's see. Okay. Interest in many major companies such as Walt Disney, PepsiCo, Kodak, Apple, Hewlett Packard, HP is literally heh, heh. Behold a mouth. Behold what cleaves. Motorola, Time Warner, which is now Spectrum, A, Kaf, Ta, Rome. News Corp, Pinnacle Infotech Solutions, and Citigroup, as well as real estate in London through its Songbird Estates division. Vatican's its own city. London operates as its own bank, separate from England. The U.S. DC isn't a state. It's its own entity and operates in a place that used to be called Rome, Maryland. DC, District of Columbia. Columbia is an idol of witchcraft. Columbine. Colossians. I can't. These things you're going to have to do yourself because my skull will fracture if I continue to try to expand here. I will say these things, though, so that you can do them because you have the alphabet and you have memory of a lot of the ones I've said already from this episode and past ones. So you got to do it yourself on a lot of these. I'll only do it if I think it's important. In May 2008, soil testing cast doubt over the proposed location could support skyscraper. The thing might fall over too. Hopefully when people aren't around, but it seems likely. Let's see. Architect selected. Adrian Smith, all that. Because there's something here. 8 leading architectural firms. One of them is Cone, Pedersen, Fox. Fox is 666 numerology. Pickard, Chilton. That's Killian. That's a Hebrew last name. Peli, Clark, Peli. Pe, Lamed, Ayan. And Foster plus partners, as well as, okay, geothermal, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Approvals. Contractors, Binline Group. Just want to make sure, because I know there's something in here that links to Trump. I don't know if I already said it. I think I highlighted it. Usually I highlight certain things. That's this weird Kingdom Holding Group. In late 2017, the owner of Kingdom Holding Group, which owns 33% of the tower, and the chairman of the Saudi Bin Laden Group, which owns 17% and is the primary contractor, were arrested as part of 2017 Saudi Arabian purge. Construction of the tower continued, although some senior managers at Kingdom Holding were redirected to other projects. February 2018, Monib Hamoud, CEO of Jeddah Economic City, said that construction is continuing and that they hope to open the tower by 2020. I wonder if they did that. I don't know. What's his name? So That is who are like moon and probably fountain or eye of the Ib's house. So that would be what is like uh the testimony of the eye in the house or just the eye in the house. And then Ham is a noisy multitude or a heated person. And Mood, it would be Ma'ud. What is like a door or what is like a. It's all about doors with these people, isn't it? Or maybe this is why I thought it was with Trump. It says in March 2018, Kingdom Holding Company signed a deal with Orange Business Services. Orange is 33 in numerology. Two people have 33 shares in the tower to provide information and communication technology infrastructure. March 12th, construction of the tower moved forward. Triangular footprint. Has a triangular footprint. It'd be interesting to know what direction the topmost point is facing, whether it's up or down. It's supposed to represent something. I don't know. Oh, I thought there was something where it said Trump was involved, or somebody was an architect who built also Trump Tower or something. And Trump Tower is the one with the 5 columns on it, 5 dimensions, but it's all black. And it has the downward pointing triangle of the divine feminine, as they call it, but it's actually the 3rd dimension and the lower dimension, so it's satanic, and it's supposed to represent birthing. That's why it's female. And he literally has trees growing on it, so it literally has a bush. I mean, I don't do these things, he does. All right, oil reserves. It's probably just about oil. They claim that they're making some tower and then they're just stealing oil or something. Carbon footprint. It has it has even been likened to the Tower of Babel. Oh, it's so fun, isn't it? It's this point. It's literally like pointing a needle. It's like figuratively pointing a needle at God's eye. This tower. That's what it seems to me. Even though you can't physically do that, you can emotionally, spiritually, intentionally represent that. So that's what I think they're doing here. Oh, listen to this. This is probably where money laundering happens. Furthermore, economists have found large new skyscrapers to be a negative economic indicator for poor people, not for the people who have an unfair advantage because they're Jocktonites, with several indecencies of new tallest buildings being finished and operating into a bad economy, as they generally start during a financial boom when money is easy and investment is strong, but do not finish until the bubble has burst. Remember, these people have found a way. Joktan, he will be small, scant measure that is accursed. There's another scripture that says a scant measure that is accursed. They find ways to Godzilla. Gad is divide the spoil or just providence. After the tolling bell of death, Zilla. So building these towers like this, they probably found a way to make money off of timing it right to make money. Examples include the Singer Building and Metropolitan Life Insurance Building, ironic, after the Panic of 1907, 40 Wall Street, the Chrysler Building, and the Empire State Building built during the Great Depression, and World War II, when it was going on, they built this giant museum out of like granite and marble, real marble, granite, and all this stuff they got from different countries that were in the war. This is weird. and it just had a bunch of debased stuff in it. And it's like they built this while people were dying and burning. It's like what is going on? Why are you building a massive like palace while the world is burning? FDR. It's a New Deal with Satan apparently. Okay. World Trade Center and Sears Tower, built during the 1970s economic downturn. One of those got somebody $7 billion, $7 trillion, something like that. 7 billion or 7 trillion, when they all fell into their own footprints, defying odds 7 times. Credible odds. The Petronas Towers, built during the Asian crisis of the late 1990s, and the Burj Khalifa, built during the Great Recession. Much of the study on this phenomenon was done in 1999 by Andrew Lawrence, a research director at Deutsche Bank, who created the skyscraper index originally as a joke. However, it illustrated the observation that many of the world's tallest buildings have been built on the eve of financial collapse. I actually had a dream when I wasn't rooting for Trump ever because I knew he couldn't do anything, but I thought people were lying about him, so I would defend him sometimes in the beginning. So I had a dream when I still technically didn't see him as bad, where the Twin Towers existed again, and I was being lifted up on one of those cranes or something, and it just kept going higher, and it got to the top of it, and I think they were supposed to display like new towers that were exact matched to the old ones, and Trump was just standing right on the girder, the iron girder that was sticking out, and it just kept going up and up. And when I got to the top, there's like people who, for some reason, I knew were families of the survivors of the happening on September, and he was supposed to say something, but the girder just kept going up and up. And I'm like, why does it keep getting higher, like above the towers, and everything was like really cloudy. And then I woke up. So I always felt like when they had those 2 towers rebuilt again, Trump's gonna do some dedication thing, and it's gonna represent what this is talking about. I don't know. Well, the construction here, geothermal, saltwater. Yeah, that's it for this one. Oh, I need to put these back in when I'm done. To do that. Funny. Okay, put this in here. Oh, there's some cool history things right here. I got 15 minutes. I have to mark this where I'm done. Gotta get a pen out over here. Isn't that interesting that a pen is named after your face and your mouth? Pe, penna. Pe is mouth, and to cleave. Penna is face, and to turn. Cleave, turn, face. Pen, pen. Sill, sill, calf. Outstretched weak hand. You can break a pencil. It's harder to break a thing. It'll bend all weird because it's plastic. How does this work? Anyway, let's start reading this history stuff. This is gonna be fun. Uh-oh, what did I just drop? I'll find out when the stream's over. Okay. Battle of Kadesh between Egyptian and Hittite Empire, 1274 BC. So that's 200 years, 150 years after Israel took the land, um, the Most High invested them into. That's why they don't technically own it. The Most High owns it. They are part of the investment. They are the seed that was sown there, but they are also what took out the former inhabitants. So now, and that was in 1400 BC. So now in 1274, the Hittites don't want to serve the Egyptians anymore. Because Heth knew Abraham. They probably were like, hey, we're looking at our annals here, and it says there's this man named Abraham. They're calling him like a prince of God. He knew all this stuff. They say he's where all of our international trade secrets came from, that they made into all the pantheon and polytheism. And the Hittites are probably like, you know what? We don't want to serve the Egyptians anymore now that these Hebrews have moved in down here. And they'll leave us alone up here because they say they're only going to take what God gave them. It's like, well, usually people don't do that. Egypt doesn't do that. And see, that literally the Most High through the Hebrews inspire the Hittites to be like, you know what? We're not going to be your terror and dread anymore. Yeah, Amalekites were just like random. Like they probably end up forming with the Phoenicians or something, because that would be what that would, like the Kaftor, the Cretans, which are literally the cops, the capital police of Egypt, and the ocean police, the Coast Guard. They conform with the descendants of Abraham's three friends, them, these Amalekites, Cretans, and part of Philistines. There's two parts of Philistines too. One side, literally the etymology implies inbreeding. The other side involves the Cretans, which are the Copts. So literally you can tell Philistines, the shape of their head is going to tell them which type. Are they the ones that are from Crete, and they had a different system that didn't worship lust, and then half of the Philistines became the ones that Israel was at war with, but then there's another half that's actually Kaftor, the Cretans, and the gospel was preached to the Cretans. You see, so now modern Palestine consists of Christians, Muslims, and Jews that are of this phenotype, but there's two divided phenotypes in there, and it seems like bloodlines are being systematically killed. One was called the Salem family. It's like, how do you get a name like Salem? Did you used to own Jerusalem before Rothschild bought it? It's liquidation. Battle of Kadesh between Egyptian and Hittite Empire, 1274 BC. Battle of Kadesh, also Kadesh. That's Kop. That's Q. That's the Kop. Ain, the eye of the Kop. Literally the eye of the Kop, because that's what Kop means, is everything a Kop does. So the eye of the Kop, the door of and the door of man, duh, and then Esh. So this is literally the battle of for their independence from Egypt. You can tell by the name, because it was probably named after the event. Took place or there was fought there. It was already named that, and then they chose to fight there, because usually in ancient battles they chose where they would fight. They didn't just bomb women and children. They went off in some field somewhere, like men, and saw each other's eyes when they had to compete with swords. Took place between the forces of Egyptian Empire under Ramses II. See, they're lying. It was a different pharaoh. Ramses II was before. Do you understand? If you look into Egyptian history, it's the most debated between the people who make their theories, to the point where people who study it and make history books, like the ones that I got, will tell you, yeah, don't bother too much with the dates in Egyptian history because sometimes they can be 100 years off to 600 years off. It's like, really? So it wasn't these, it was somebody else because they're trying to hide something. It could have been a later Ramses or somebody who was trying to reclaim the glory because they could do that and give themselves the same name and try to say they're that incarnate and they're going to take back what Moses took and all that. Gonna march to the enemy's camp and we'll take back what he stole from me. Okay, and the Hittite empire under Muwatalli, that's literally the waters of the peg or the hook and the mark of a scholar, or the eye of the scholar. So see, they were investigating ideologies, and they're like, the Egyptians don't have a good system. It only is good materialistically, and then people just get lied to. It's the Egyptian dream is the American dream. It is the Roman dream. It is the English dream. You understand? It is the AI dream. See, under this guy, Muwatalli II, at the city of Kadesh on the Orontes River, was now Syria. It's interesting. You can have Shin Rhea, that is the sharpening of the associate or the sharpening of the friend. And Syria, there's a lot of Christians there, so that's very interesting, isn't it? How I can get these things out of the name through the Hebrew language and its alphabet. And not yet has it failed me. I've done it a bunch of times. It's witness. Anybody who watches these things are witness. 1194 BC to 1184 BC, the Trojan War. Isn't that interesting that that was right before Saul? That was like Saul. Right before Saul and during Saul. So it's interesting that the invasion of the Israelites into Canaan caused a power struggle that might have even caused the Trojan War to happen. In Greek mythology, says the jock tonight, to a bunch of dead brave men, the Trojan War was waged against the city of Troy. Ta, Ra, Ain, the mark of the evil eye. I know a Troy. By the Achaeans or Greeks. There's a lot of different types of people. You can't just call them all Greeks because they're barbarians to you. Jeez. After Paris of Troy, Paris is to go around in a circle. It has to do with a partridge. Dove. Pigeon. Paris of Troy stole Helen. Hela. Ain. Behold, the scholar's eye has a testimony, or the testimony of the eye of the scholar, behold it. You can read it forwards and backwards. Do you understand? This is beyond English. This is better than English. This is superior. These things are birthed from Hebrew and then alienated, like the movie Twins. Watch the movie Twins. The mother is this language. She's told both the children died. The Danny DeVito character just doesn't care, is told everybody died. The Arnold Schwarzenegger character is supposed to be the nation's absorbing Messiah and becoming all strong and intelligent. And Danny DeVito being Danny DeVito. They're still related. They don't know each other's related. The one who's given the information is the one who's supposed to represent the body of Messiah. That's why they pick Arnold Schwarzenegger, because he working out your body like that is a form of worship. You can direct that at yourself as worship towards yourself, or worship towards... See how worship towards yourself would be looking within? Look within, there's truth within, or look inside, you find truth, or like, no, you don't. You don't find anything inside. You find bones and guts. You open it up, it all spills out, and you die. There's nothing in there. You have to get it externally, because that's your journey, is expansion, external. Paris of Troy stole Helen. So Paris, the one who circles for the mark of the evil eye. I'm electric spy. I'm protecting electric eye, says Rob Halford from Judas Priest. That's how you know Troy was the bad guys. That's why they obsess over Troy. Oh, we lost Troy like it was Atlantis, because Atlantis was Tyre, and Tyre was wicked too. They glorify all these wicked places that were destroyed for good reason. They still do that with certain towers. So the one who encircles for the mark of the evil eye stole the testimony of the eye of the scholar from her, because her is supposed to be the government, woman is supposed to be government, from her husband, Menelaus. Mene, Tekel Parson. Do you understand? These are political ideologies. Somebody took something from a jock tonight and showed people the truth and caused war. Why? Because somebody more south was commanded by God. And they broke the ancient cabal that was Canaan. And so all these different cities started fighting for their independence. Isn't that interesting? The king of Sparta. So Paris stole Helen from Sparta. See, Spartans were very disciplined. Sparta, to divide one continuum to the other, so spilling blood would be a sp. R is strong, aura, or to drag away, but I think it also is something that's strong. Gara is usually drag away. Aura is usually strength. So strength over international trade, R over international trade would be Gar to drag away, but just R by itself is usually strength. And then Ta. So to separate the strength of the mark, Sparta, when it was original, was fighting like a shadow of the mark of the beast. That's why they glorified Troy. Troy was a Babylon city. It means the mark of the evil eye. It's Sauron. It's Mirkwood. It's Marduk wood. This is going to keep going. Nobody's going to stop it unless the Most High wants it stopped. That's what's going to happen. So, I will put little dots next to the ones I finished. And in this one, very, very mentally exhausted. But I'm sure once I get off the screen, I'll feel a lot better. And my strength will be renewed like the eagles. And if somebody's thinking of a video call, I probably won't want to because I'm very exhausted. Not that I don't want to. But if it happens, I'll probably pop in for a minute and then leave. Just in case anybody's watching that in the Telegram chats. It's all falling over. It's too much info. Too much info. All right. Don't look inside. There's no truth inside. Look outside. See how I got this and put it inside something? It was empty. It was useless before I took something from outside and put it into it. It's like we were dirt until something with actual worth in life was put into that dirt, into its nostrils, called the breath of life. All right, I'm gonna start this music. Oh, my head is feels like it's expanding. Okay, let me start the music. Baruch Hashem Yehovah Shaddai. Baruch Hashem Ben Elohim Yeshua HaMashiach. Blessings, Baruch, to you who watch and especially who understand. Let's turn this music on here.